Hello, Donut Media. My name is Eric McMullen. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I just wanted to say a quick thank you for the opportunity to apply. You guys make a lot of great content, and as a result, you've wasted a lot of my time over the years. So I appreciate that. My name is Eric McMullen. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Today I'm at the British Car Club, the Fox Cities British Car Club. They've got this cool thing basically for a monthly fee. If you own a British car, you get access to storage, tools, service bays. That's the pub, they call it. The old pub. You can't even get in the pub unless you have a British car. That's the thing. But it's super cheap, as is everything in Wisconsin. Anyway, I really love your show. I think I'd be an awesome fit, and I think I would have the time of my life working with you guys. So call 925 to hire me for your show. How does a turbo work? First of all, if I really understood how a turbo worked, I wouldn't be wasting my time here. I'd be dating one. However, I have waste-gated a lot of time reading about turbos in Sport Compact Car magazine, but apparently they went out of business in 2009, so now you've got me. Don't worry though, I've even seen one, and now I'm going to prove it to you in the form of words. I'll assume you've already seen our video explaining the four-stroke engine. An engine is airtight. Because of this, it doesn't need help pulling air through the system. The pistons drop from the engine head into the engine block, and air gets sucked in to fill the open space. For some reason, everyone agrees this is known as natural aspiration. Really, there's nothing natural about it. The engine is probably the most unnecessarily complicated and most violent man-made machine to ever drift the planet, but that's not what this is about. Not anymore. An engine sucking air all by itself is natural. There are quite a few different ways to turbo your car. For the sake of my fragile attention span, let's talk about single turbos bolted onto four-stroke engines. A turbo is a means of forced induction, not to be confused with a pickup line, which is a forced introduction. Stay with me. While engines without any forced induction are known as naturally aspirated, turbocharged and supercharged fall into this forced induction category because they force air into the compression chambers of an engine. More air than the engine could inhale naturally. This increase in pressure leads to a bigger explosion when the spark plug ignites. This leads to a faster, more powerful engine speed, or RPM. Repeat this about 10 to 15 times a second, and you have an idling, turbocharged engine. Now, for fun, let's imagine driving through a tornado. Take the hood off. Now you're driving through a tornado without a hood. Close your eyes. The tornado is shooting air super fast into your K&N color matching air filter. Would that count as forced induction? Or would that be natural too? You might even say that it's even more naturaler. Are tornadoes the turbochargers of the sky? Call 920 your show. If I had $10,000, I'd be rich, because I would trade that aforementioned $10,000 for the greatest car to ever walk the earth. The 1985 Porsche 928S in black with a sunroof and manual transmission options. Not seen behind me here, but that's right, I even picked the year. That's how specific I can get, and I'm pretty good at other stuff too. When I'm having a dream that I am a car, it is usually the Porsche 928. I love this car for quite a few reasons. Most of the reasons have to do with performance and aesthetic, but some of them also have to do with popular culture and history, huh? Let's get at it. The Porsche 928 was designed in the 1970s to replace the 911 with equal performance and improved luxury. It is the German response to the front-engine V8 rear-wheel drive setup that America was doing. You know all about that one. In fact, it was the only front-engine V8 Porsche would ever produce, and it is little things like that that make me love it so much. Although production persisted from 1979 to 1996, the 911 proved to be impossible to replace, and I agree that the 911 should always exist. The problem for me with my $10,000 is that I can't afford a running 911 of any year. It's okay, really though, it's fine. The Porsche 928 ranges from $5,000 to $100,000 as the years increase. $10,000 lands us in the 1985 to 1987 range. 1985 is an important year for the 928 because it came with a large power increase, pushing it above 300 horsepower. That's respectable power even for now. For comparison, a 1988 V12 Jaguar makes 230 horsepower. The 928 has a timeless look. It looked like the future in 1979, and the world is still catching up, I think. Despite its transient existence, I'm not the only one who noticed the 928 was the best. It was featured in Risky Business and Cannonball Run, and was a favorite of Steve Jobs, who used it as a starting point to design the Macintosh computer. It was even the first choice for Magnum PI, until Porsche refused to let the producers cut the top off for a convertible. The 928 is an affordable way to own a piece of history. I have wanted a 928 for 8 years. I think it is underrated, undervalued, and over awesome. Do you have a story about the 928? Do you hate me for my opinion? Tell us what you think with a couple comments. See you on the marketplace. Call 920 for your show. Wind in your hair, finger in the air, buckle up that chair, you will fall out. 12 cylinders, 8 miles per gallon, 5.3 liters, 3 gears, and 2 gas tanks. What the help is going on here? This is everything you need to get up to speed on the Jaguar XJS Hesse-Eisenhardt convertible. Designed in the 1970s, built through the 90s, and offered in thousands of configurations throughout the years, the XJS is now an invasive species found all over the planet. They don't hold value, they don't go fast, and they don't save gas. But they do make you proud to deny those luxuries. This particular XJS is a Hesse-Eisenhardt edition. Hesse and Eisenhardt, don't try to spell it, was a company that got its start making armored vehicles for World War I. After the wars subsided, veterans started booming babies, and the company found success making armored cars for the rich and the famous. This includes Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, and Elvis M.F. Presley. Actually, the limousine JFK was assassinated in was a Hesse-Eisenhardt edition. Let's get back to the story. Jaguar hired Hesse-Eisenhardt in the late 80s to modify XJS coupes into convertibles in an effort to test whether the market was ready for such an innovation. Can you imagine? No top? So this car started its life as a coupe. Did it hurt? In 1989, Jaguar began making its own convertibles, but with a few changes. Aesthetics were important to Hesse-Eisenhardt. Because of this, they insisted the soft top retract all the way into the body. In order to do this, the gas tank had to be replaced with 2 smaller gas tanks. It is a complete system that feeds the bottom to the top, but requires 2 fuel pumps. Because of it, really this car requires 2 of everything. There are even 2 inline 6-cylinder engines under the hood, kind of, if you think about it. Originally, Hesse-Eisenhardt was given 2,000 XJS coupes. A fire in the factory in Ohio caused a loss of many of these examples. The fire also destroyed the paperwork confirming how much was actually lost, so it is unknown how many of these still exist today. The ones that are for sale online have a huge range in price, and because of this confusion on its history, the confusion in its history makes the value even more a gray area. In addition to its beauty, rich history, and market disruption, the XJS is a fun experience to drive. It doesn't have acceleration power, but your passengers will all fall asleep on the highway at 100 miles per hour. That's how comfortable it is, which is saying a lot for a car made in the 1980s. Have you ever had a seatbelt tan? Anyway, the XJS is probably one of the most underrated classic cars in the world right now, in my opinion, in my own humble opinion, as the number in circulation begins to drop. Let's get in and pretend it's 1988. Why not, right? It's got heated seats, power everything including the antenna, car phone, a live gas mileage indicator that paved the way for the modern infotainment screen. The XJS was 30 years ahead of its time, and there's something very strange about driving it. In 1988, the world saw its first internet computer virus. That kind of makes sense when you drive this car. Every time you get in it, it is a unique experience. It's like a transformer that has good days and bad days. It's like it has a mind of its own, a free spirit flapping in the wind. Or maybe it is a computer virus caused by marketing gimmicks, overpromises, and experimental software that the world wasn't ready for yet. I'll let you decide. It's a Jaguar, baby, yeah! The last cool thing, though, that I want to talk about with this car is the gearing. This is a grand touring vehicle. It is meant to be a convertible with lots of storage space. Because of the transmissions of the time, they weren't as smooth as your 10-speed automatic transmission in your Ford F-150. So the goal was to minimize shifting. A way to do this was to increase power and decrease the amount of times you need to shift. This makes the ride a little smoother for a car of its time, and it also gives you the freedom to select which gear you want to be in via throttle position, which is a lot of fun, actually. All the way to the floor gets you first gear. Somewhere in the middle finds second, and allowing deceleration at all will promptly produce third gear, unless you're going fast enough to need full third gear at full throttle. This car doesn't redline. This car doesn't redline, though, because rich people don't race. The workaround is using the first and second gear selectors below drive to have some more control. Also, my mom thought it was fast, so it's not like it's a Geo Metro, you guys. Thanks for letting me get that out of my system. This is my personal car, so if you know how to get the radio out of theft lockout mode, please help your brother out. And as always, if you'd like to hire me for your show, please call 9... That's my phone number.